All right, good evening for the last installment of our delving into God's Not Dead Part 2. And we are starting at about 124, and we're going to go to the end. So if you're joining with us, then uh, hit pause and go watch 124 to the end. And when you're done watching, come back and hit unpause, and and we will be here waiting for you. Okay, no time has passed. We're back.
Yeah,
So, what did you think about the grand finale? What caught you?
that was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
The definite plot twist. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
Uh,
that
what
surprise.
what happened?
well, they
Did
said
you
it.
see?
Oh, he treated her as a house of witness and gave her the chance to stand up, and that way the jury hates everybody, like you said.
Yeah. Did you see how he looked really slick on his suit?
Oh, nice
Yeah.
shoot, nice suit.
And that terrible little thing right here. He
Yeah.
didn't shave right here. It's a
Yeah.
little thing the guys put right there. But the slimy lawyer said it when he came in wearing that suit and his hair slicked back
Mm.
and a little thing there.
Soul
He looked
patch.
just soul
Yeah.
patch. He
Yeah.
Yeah.
looked he looked just like them. He
Mm.
looked
Yeah.
like the slimy lawyer.
Uh-huh.
So it
Mm.
was a great plan
Mm.
that he had, and he didn't have to worry if she would do what she was going to do because she'd already said that.
He knew she was going to react that way,
Yeah,
but it had to be organic. He couldn't let her know what he was going to do.
yeah, yeah. And what else caught you?
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I like that the lady called and asked everyone that the entertainers were entertaining to
Yep,
pray,
Yeah.
the power of prayer.
Yeah.
yep, yep. They're showing that again. This isn't it that the last one we said that the first place she went to when she came home from all that stress was to go straight into her bedroom and pray.
Yeah.
So remember the scripture Jesus said when you're in need, don't pray outside and make a big show of it, but go into your bedroom where your Father hears you. So they're giving living out that. And did you recognize the word she was saying?
I didn't catch
Jesus,
it.
Jesus in the garden when he prayed said, "God, Father, don't forsake me."
Oh, yeah.
So those were her words. So what is that? How did she get to that place? It's just how she felt, right? So how she felt wasn't the reality. That's what her dad was trying to tell her. She was so caught up in the distress of the moment that she had blocked out the reality or the presence of God. God never he didn't abandon Jesus. He didn't abandon her. That was just the way that it felt because there's so much going against her, going against Christ at the time. Remember, I say that Christ experienced all the things that we experience, so he had to feel abandoned, or he wouldn't know what that felt like. So she's for us, we've got that witness that Christ gives us because now we know when we feel abandoned, he felt that way once too. So if he's felt that way once as a human being and he's also God, then God knows what it feels like when we feel abandoned. And that means God knows what to do to help comfort us in those times, like a parent, like any good parent, how they help their children. And it also, I like that what you're saying, how Jay, when you said that she went to the concert people to get everyone to
Yeah.
pray. So all of these events, if you think about it this way, all of these events were kind of preordained, with the people that were involved, with the focus of their lives. There's only one thing they could do. They wouldn't they wouldn't go do something else. I mean, these are Christian people who believe that prayer is the way to go. So, of course, that's what they're going to do. And Amy has a direct line to the band, and they were the ones that helped her and healed her. So it makes perfect sense that she would call them. And the daughter, she just went to her friends, and then her friends, of course, are going to go to their friends, and that until you had the entire sidewalk of the. I thought that shot from the sky was really cool with the
Yeah.
sidewalk that parted, and they were all the way down the sidewalk.
Mhm.
Uh, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's the two effects of that are that the God prayer is efficacious. God hears our prayers, whether it's one person or a million people. God hears our prayers. Uh, but it's really inspirational for us when we get to pray with another, 50,000 people around us. That's really cool. And it's even more cool when that happens and it's a witness, especially if it makes the evening news. And then other people who are on the borderline or who don't know at all or who want to belong to something, but they just don't know what. They want to. I knew somebody years ago who had, oh my gosh, what did she? She'd been into politics for a little while, and she'd gone to the big rallies, and then she got into um, eco causes and like spiking the trees and that kind of thing. She didn't actually do that stuff, but she went to the rallies and the protests and stood out on the street. And there was a third thing that she was doing. Oh, it was about the waters. It was about it was when I was in California. She got real involved with the save the whales or save the animal kingdom in Southern California down on the ocean. And then she came to me and she was talking to me, and I realized when we were talking that you know and she'd stopped these other things when she started the other thing. The second thing, she stopped the first one. She started the third one, she stopped the second. Because she wanted to belong to something. She felt like she needed to belong to something. She needed to have a part in it. It needed to mean something to her, and she needed to express that. She knew that. That was something that she needed. And so when she came to the Christian church, she was willing to give it a try. And she gave it a try because I can't remember what it was, but there was something in the paper. Something had happened. And she saw a bunch of people that had gathered around like that for their to support this person. And so she popped in and said, what do I do? Where do I go to sign up? It's like, it's not, it doesn't really work that way. That's not it. And I just 2 years later, I moved away from her, but I got a chance to see her again in 2 years, and she hadn't left the movement. She didn't go on. She stayed. She said, this is all of her desire to be known and to know and to be a person uh, came true in this relationship with Christ because now she didn't have to go outside of herself to find the group. She just had to go inside. And it's the group of the Trinity. It's the group of those who have gone before us. It's the group for everybody that's praying at this time. So she said, I'm always active, always, I'm always involved. So there are lots of people like that that
Mhm.
want to belong, that want to know there's something more. And when you have events like was portrayed here, outside that gives the inspiration. So you can see how God would let all of it happen. People say, why do bad things happen to good people? So that was a pretty bad time that happened to her. I mean, it was tumultuous, it was scary, it was um, rending. It made her. I don't think she questioned her faith, but she certainly didn't feel like God was there for her. Like she said, Jesus doesn't. He doesn't feel close to me anymore. He doesn't come to me anymore. So it was a really tough time for her. You say, well, why would God let that happen? Because letting it happen, let it happen. And who knows what would come of that? If it didn't happen that way, if it didn't make the news, if it wasn't a big deal, then those people like that lady that I knew that wanted to find some place to be and were really looking for Jesus all along, and they just didn't know it, wouldn't have that inspiration. So they would just keep, floundering from one thing to another to another to another. So pretty cool. I like the way that they portrayed that God's got a plan even when we don't know or don't think about it. God's always working, and things turn out the way that God hopes for them
There,
to.
there was a subplot with Martin too.
Yeah, yeah. Scary subplot. Scary. I mean, it is a death sentence in China to
Mhm.
to
Mm.
proselytize. I know pastors who have gone over and smuggled Bibles in, and it's like they're taking their lives in their hands. They just go to jail forever. They never come out. And I can imagine, like many places in the world, a Chinese jail is not a good place to be.
No.
Martin wants to go home and be a pastor to the people at home. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of energy and trust in God. How about Mike Huckabee? Do you recognize that name?
Yeah.
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 Governor of
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yeah. Governor of Arkansas. His daughter's the governor of Arkansas.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was an ambassador to Israel. I don't know if he still is,
I think he
but
is. Yeah.
is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty cool. He's at a little radio show. Maybe that was a real radio show. He might have had the Mike Huckabee radio show. I should have looked that up.
He's
See
had
if he
a
can have that.
he's had a radio show, not by that name, but I think something else.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Obviously not now since he's ambassador. But yeah,
Right.
he is
I wonder.
currently the ambassador to Israel.
I bet that's a fun job right now.
Have to wear a hard hat everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you have to wear a battle rattle and a helmet.
Oh, and feel a little useless in all of your efforts, right?
Well, that too, man.
Let's see. Look to God. Oh, how great thou art. I
Yes.
thought that was a real nice touch. Did you?
It's
Yes.
beautiful. Yeah. All those young people.
Yep.
And the candles. That was
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Yep. And I know that, well, we love these hymns. I certainly love these hymns. You get into and you get in church and we sing them, and it's really inspirational and great. But I don't know if you if you did this. I did it, and I did it for the first time. I've seen this before, and I did it for the first time. If you think about what she's going through, right? Her questioning her own the presence of Christ in her life, her relationship with Christ, her closeness to God. And then you take the words of how great thou art. It has the recipe in it.
Yeah.
To bring you around. It says, you have to start outside and recognize who God is, how great God is, and how that God is personally present for you. So maybe not feeling the presence of God is because you're too much in you. You're not enough outside. So I thought that was really great. I'll never hear that song again in the same way as I heard it tonight. That was pretty cool.
If the girl's brother hadn't died, none of it would have happened.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great, Sharon. Thank you. So that's a great example of people of God.
Working in mysterious ways.
Yeah, and taking something that's horrible, that's terrible, some instance, whether it's a sickness, an illness, some kind of brokenness or a death, that we think that, we frequently think that death is the worst thing. Of course, for a Christian, it's certainly not. It's just a transition thing, so it's not the worst thing. In fact, I knew a priest who used to say that the worst thing that could happen, he would live forever. Because if I live here forever, it's going to be like this forever. And it's terrible. Yeah, God takes. So when my dad died when I was 13, and I was 13, I didn't understand that. How could I understand that? And there was a man at the church named Mike Wallace, and Mike, big guy. They moved away. Well, they stopped going to church after a while. I didn't know anything about it. I just remember that Mr. Wallace, when he was around, you knew he was around. He was a big guy, and he was just gone. And years later, so I was in the Marine Corps. So when was that? It's probably at least 13, 10, probably 10, not probably 10 to 10 to 12 years later. I was home on leave, and we were in the Safeway, which is like Food Lion. And we came in the door over there, and we got in our basket and walked all the way across the front, because you came in that door, but you're going to go to the dairy section on the other side of the store.
Yeah.
So we came in there, we were walking all the way across the other side, and I heard him. He said, he yelled. My mom's name is Millie. He said, Millie, and I looked up, coming in that door, and it was Mike Wallace. Like I said, you can't mistake Mike Wallace. And my mom, who was 5 feet tall, was like, oh my gosh, Mike. And he's like this. He was like 6'5" or something, big guy. And she said, where you been, what you been doing? And he shared with her, he said, well, I had a chance to take a change in my job, where I was working, same company. I just moved to a different place, and I took it um, after Paul died. And she said, I know, I didn't see you. You were just gone. He said, well, I have to tell you that I was really mad at God. Paul was a great guy. He should have died. He had everything going for him. If anybody should have lived, it was Paul. And I just felt like there was no God, or if God was God, God was not a good guy. And I think I get so angry and it's so upset in my grief that I took that job and I just left. I had to get out of here. And he said, but I want to come back. I came back here right now to tell you that I I've come full circle. And over the years, I've never stopped thinking about it. And I thought about uh, how direct Paul was, and how focused Paul was, and how I was never that way. I kind of lived through Paul's devotion. And after all these years, I found my way back. And uh, I wanted you to know that Paul dying was a terrible thing, but I don't know if I ever would have found the depth of my faith and the focus that I have on Christ if I hadn't gone through that process of grieving him. And I wanted to let you know that after all these years, Paul is still doing good things for people. So that was really special. So
Oh,
terrible things. I mean, who would want that to happen to anybody? But yet, if it had to happen, what God is going to do is take that terrible thing and make it a good thing for somebody, or some some bodies, that always work it around and have the chance for anyone to find the inspiration and the goodness and the wonder that can come out of it. So I thought that was really great. Thank you, Sharon. That was a great observation.
Was.
well, he probably was also saved because he had that Bible that there
Yeah, that's right.
is
Yeah.
against his parents' wishes, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, and she said he had that. It was all written in.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that was like the young Muslim girl from the last one, where she was writing in her book.
Yes.
So that's a clear sign. When people start writing in their Bibles, that's a pretty clear sign that they're not just a casual observer anymore. So
Right.
yeah, which one do you like better, one or two, or the same?
I think the same because
Oh,
they have
too.
kind of uh, different messages, I think, from movie to movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of. I mean, the whole thing, God's not dead, obviously, but how they're communicating that is different from movie to movie.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like a specific emphasis or instance of
Yeah,
Yeah.
how it's affecting different people. So, I like
using
that.
using
I
topical things from current events.
Yeah, I think I might have to watch three now.
I was
I've
just
never.
gonna say, is that what we're gonna do next?
I have not seen three, so that would be a new one for me. That's for sure. I don't know if Catherine's seen three yet, but
There's got to be more to come because the what about the preacher and the sermons he didn't turn in? So
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
maybe that's the plot line of a new story.
Oh, you know what? Hang on,
I haven't looked it up, but maybe.
hang on. I forgot. I noticed this when I was looking at it before. All right, hang on. So this is all the way at the end. You have to go through all the credits, and you get an Easter egg.
Oh,
You all know what an Easter egg is, right? When
Yeah.
you're
oh
in
yeah.
a movie, you get an Easter egg that's like a little clue somewhere in
Yeah.
the movie about something that's going to happen somewhere else. It's really famous in the Marvel made it really famous because you'd watch. I went to see the Captain America movie, the first one, because I collected Captain America comics since I was about that big, and I just sat in the theater all happy and smug while all the credits ran. You know, 8 minutes or 10 minutes of watching the lines go up. Nobody in there but me, just smiling at the screen, having a great time. And what do you know? The credits ended, and there was a 2 minute movie that came on. That was the preview of the upcoming Avengers movie, which hadn't been announced yet. And I
Wow.
was like coming out of my chair going crazy. If you didn't stay until the end, you wouldn't have seen it. And word got out after a little while. So then all the Marvel movies, whenever anybody was there, they stayed through the entire credits to see what the Easter egg was for the next one. So you get to see the Easter egg. I forgot it. So thanks for saying that. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Don't let them silence you.
The end of the credits, last credit.
You know I'm gonna need my keys back.
I know.
2 days of ice chips. I'm starving.
I'm hungry as well, David. How about I take you for a nice tuna melt?
David Hill,
Yes.
you're under arrest.
For what?
Contempt of court. You failed to produce your sermons upon court order. Please put your hands behind your back.
Please be gentle. He's just been released from the hospital.
I don't understand. What is he being accused of? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand the rights that I have just read to you?
Yes.
Sorry about this, Pastor.
It's okay. Looks like I'm gonna need you to fill in for me a little while longer.
Of course, David. Anything you need.
What do we do now?
Same as always, Martin. We pray. In faith.
There you go.
Ah,
And then get that
Easter
lawyer.
egg. So now you know what's coming in the third one. That was great. Yeah.
I thought one cop's nice to him. I'm sorry about this, and the other one grabs him by the head and shoves him in the car.
Yeah.
Anybody's noticed that? I mean, I know they're protecting the head, but he shoved him in the car.
Yeah.
Why
No,
does he
Durant's
have to turn over his sermons?
I think the last one that they were trying to say was that that they used her at the example of her. She was not allowed to preach in school. That's against the law. You can't do that. Can't proselytize in schools. That was what was happening. But then there's the law. There's a law that says that clergy cannot be political from the pulpit. Now,
but
that's
he
a real
hadn't
law.
turned his in. Remember,
And he
everybody else supposedly turned him in, and he didn't have his in it,
Right.
and he just had a little folder.
Yep. It said, well, he put the letter in the folder as to why he wasn't turning them in.
Yeah.
So that's a real law. You can't I can't preach politics from the pulpit. If I do that, then the church can be disenfranchised and lose its status as a nonprofit. Because I'll be politicking. I'll be stumping for somebody somewhere so they can get you. So in the movie, they were saying that this was happening. Someone had said this was going on, that the clergy were doing this. So some judge ordered all of the sermons so she or he could read and find out who was doing this and who wasn't, so they could get them. And David said, "That's not going to do that. That's ridiculous." So he didn't do it.
As a priest, Bill, do you have copies of all your sermons, or you don't? You do them off the cuff anyway, so there's really no way.
No, I've got copies. I do.
Yeah,
I
okay.
do. Yeah, I do bullet. My process is I read the scripture early in the week, like Monday, Tuesday, then pray about it for a couple days, Thursday, and then go down, get major themes, bullet
Like bullet
points.
Okay.
Yep. Then I'll pray about it and come back to it and see what's coming up to the top.
Right.
And then start connecting those things. I mean, maybe theme number 1, theme number 5, and theme number 13. And then the bullet points are underneath one of those. So I have to connect all those together.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, whether I like it or not, I get there on Sunday morning and it was none of the above. And I don't find that out until 8 o'clock when I start to preach and realize that I just got off on something. And something I get off on is the thing that it should have been all along. I was in the way. So
Are you
I have
required
those.
to have? Are you required to have a printed page, or
No.
do you do it for your? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the process I have. And I know clergy that sit down on Thursday or Friday and spend all day long, 4 hours, 5 hours writing out their sermon word for word. And then, of course, they read it word for word.
Word for word.
Yeah. So it's just a different way of doing it. I had a wonderful professor that he'd been a priest for 50 years or something, and was a well-known preacher. And that's all he did. He would write it out and then reread it and rewrite it about 3 times. So he started writing it out like on Tuesday, and then he just read it. So I think I told you that story about the priest I served with in the National Cathedral, didn't I? So you can get really, that can become a real tempting black hole. Really, that'd be a good play on words. I would preach one week and he would preach one week. He'd been around for a long time. I think he'd been a priest for probably 30 something years. And one Sunday, he was in a hurry and he had to leave. And he was preaching that Sunday, or it was weekday. He was preaching that weekday. And I had watched him when he was preaching. I saw him, he always read his sermon. He was on the pulpit right there, and I saw him from behind him. And it was the pulpit that's up by the altar, not the big pulpit in the middle where the root is. And he had one of those. I remember because my dad used to have them. It was a legal size yellow pad. Remember those? Not many people have those yellow pads anymore. They're all white. Nobody has yellow. Well, he had a yellow pad. It was one of those yellow pads. I thought, oh, that's so cool. And he always told jokes. He told a joke about the president. He always said something about, something happening. It was the president. It was a president joke. They were always good, good jokes, benign jokes. So the service was over. We went back to the sacristy, which is a pretty fair distance from the altar. And he was in there getting undressed, and he realized he'd left his sermon in the pulpit. And he asked me if I could go get it really quick because he had to change and leave. So I went back to the altar real quick, and I grabbed his sermon and picked it up, and I started walking. I just happened to glance at it, and I realized it wasn't yellow paper. It was white paper yellowed over years.
Wow.
And I knew how old it was. I can't remember, tell you now, but I knew how old it was because where the presidential joke was, he had, you can see this a little bit. Let's
Kind of.
Oh man, what happened? He had where his line was, he had like, Ford was the first one. He had it scratched out, and he put the next president above it. He had that scratched out, and the next one above it, and scratched out. So he had the president over in the right column, where he's using the same joke, So we're in a 3-year cycle, right? So he'd use that sermon every 3rd year and read it. So he wasn't writing any new sermons. He was just regurgitating his old sermons over and over and over again. So that's sad because he's got that written out. Why not do it? But what it does is it hinders that the Holy Spirit's trying to do something different. I think that the reason why my sermons change on Sunday sometimes is because God is speaking to somebody's in the pew, and what I was going to say was not what God wanted them to hear. So there was something else happening that's coming out that they are getting. And if I'm rereading a sermon I did 3 years ago, Holy Spirit can want me to do all it wants me to do. I'm not going to do it because I'm just reading off my pad. So it can be real. I know a lot of clergy that do that. That if they don't do it regularly, they succumb to it every now and then and just say, I don't want to, I'm too tired this week. And they just go rifle through and pull out, sermon number 47 from 3 years ago, and they're good.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that's our cycle. Every 3 years, we go through the same sermon, same passages every 3 years.
Yeah.
So, yep. Well, so we're taking our break now for July. But when we come back, we get to decide if you want to watch the next one. I know we were talking about Cindy. We were talking about possibly reading the book that detective wrote about the witnesses. It's not a huge book, but it would be really, really cool reading. From what he was saying, I think it'd be really good. So we could do that, or we could just pick up and watch the next God's Not Dead and then do it after that.
I say we read the book and then do God's Not Dead 3.
Okay. There's one vote. You guys put it in your hopper.
That is my vote. Are we just taking a month hiatus, or what's the plan there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because there's so much going away. I mean, I'm going away too. vacations, and
Oh,
it seems typically people go away end of June, July. So we take the break and then we'll come back together beginning of August.
I
okay.
like that.